up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Transformers Robot Enhanced Design Soundwave. And I am very excited about this because Soundwave is my favorite Transformers character, and as soon as Hasbro announced that they were doing this brand new line of non-transforming articulated Transformers characters, right away I was like, I need a Springer and a Soundwave. And luckily for me, they put Soundwave in the first wave, so I'm really happy about that, and hopefully eventually this line sticks around long enough to get to characters like Springer, because I want a really cool articulated non-transforming Springer figure. I know he's a triple changer, I don't care. I want a non-transforming Springer figure, hopefully one day. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this awesome looking Soundwave. So just like Optimus Prime, the box is much smaller than I was expecting. The same thing could be said for the figure itself, but there he is in there, and he does look really cool. Right here in front we have some nice looking Soundwave artwork. Over here it says Transformers. On the side of the box is where they store the accessories. And I do like that because then the figure's not crowded by all kinds of stuff. You know, I think that's a really cool design. On the back of the box, we get a look at the figure itself doing all kinds of cool stuff. And that's about it for this small little tiny packaging. It is collector friendly, but let's go ahead and rip Soundwave out of the box and see what's up with them. And here we have Soundwave right out of the box, and I have really been enjoying this figure. I'm a little delayed on this review, so I've had this guy for about 3 weeks, but the upside to that is that I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with it, and I could say that I really like it. I think that Hasbro did a great job with it. I love the way he looks. Check it out. It's very G1 classic Soundwave. He does come with his blaster and his shoulder cannon. He does have the opening tape deck gimmick, and he does have a removable tape in there, so that is awesome. But just look at the way he looks. It's just so perfect. Feels like G1 straight out of the cartoon, and they just did a great job with it. And he is very posable. He does lack one crucial articulation point. Just like Optimus Prime, he does not have an ab crunch, and that was a little disappointing right out of the box, but after spending so much time with it and messing with it a lot, it really doesn't bother me all that much. It's fine, you know. But yeah, just check out the way he looks. I think they nailed that old school look perfectly, so I am happy with that. But let's go ahead and get in close and take a look at the details. And the sculpting work on Soundwave is very well done, but just like Optimus Prime, he kind of suffers from a lack of paint, and that's most apparent in the head. As you can see, it's definitely sculpted good. It looks like Soundwave, but the lack of paint kind of makes it look a little boring, and you can't really see all the cool details in there. But, you know, aside from that, I think the rest of the figure looks perfectly fine. And speaking of the paint and the colors and stuff like that, unlike Optimus Prime, I think the main colors on him are pretty nice. This blue does look and feel G1 to me, so I do like that. I think that does look really nice. And then for the chest here, we do have the Walkman cassette thing that opens up. And then we have the tape in there that does come out. Let's see if we can get it out real quick. There we go. And here's a look at that. And this does not transform just like Soundwave, so it would have been cool if he came with a transformed version of one of his pets. But it is cool that he came with the tape, and it does look good. You could stick it right there in his chest. Bam! Close this up, and there you go. And I love the way it looks with the tape inside of the chest here, because it adds a little bit of variation to the color. So we've got some red going on in there, and it just looks super dope. And then we do have the Decepticon logo right there on the chest. Really cool. Moving down here, we do have the the Walkman buttons on his his waistline. Poor Soundwave. His alternate mode is super obsolete. And then the sculpting work on the arms look nice. We've got some red right there. The fingers have some sculpting work on them. Moving down the legs here, we've got some yellow in the vent things, or whatever these are. Are they vents? They've got to be something like that, right? But they do look cool. And then we have some sculpting work on the side. One thing that annoys me is that they used blue pegs on the gray part, which is whack. Whoa, crazy ass birds out there. And then we do have his shoulder cannon thing, which looks nice. It has some pretty good sculpted details. We've got like the end of it, which kind of looks like a barrel or like a laser kind of thing. Then on the back of the figure, we have some sculpted detail too. Check all that out. And this thing comes off for some reason. But, you know, if you want to remove that, you can. I kind of thought it was maybe so you could plug this into the back. Let's see. No, not really. Can't fit into either one of those plugs, or either one of those plug holes. But yeah, aside from the head, I think this figure looks really nice, and the head is almost there. It just needs a little bit of paint work and then it would have been perfect, because the sculpting is definitely accurate and it looks nice, but the lack of paint just kind of makes it look a little boring. But aside from that, I think this is a really great looking figure. And aside from the alt mode laser beak, Soundwave does come with some other accessories, including 2 different sets of hands. So first off, we have a pair of fists. And then for the second set of hands, we have a trigger finger on the right side so that he could hold on to his blaster. And then on the left side, his hand has his index finger sticking out so you could pose him pressing down the button that ejects his pets. And Soundwave's blaster does look really nice. It has some pretty good sculpted details on it. He has no problem holding it. As you can see, he has a pretty tight grip. You don't have to worry about it falling out or anything. And it does have a very G1 look to it. So I like the way the blaster came out a lot. And even though Soundwave only comes with 2 sets of hands for himself, you are able to use the hands that came with Optimus Prime. As you can see, the blues match up perfectly and the peg sizes are the same. So let me go ahead and show you that. You can just pull that hand out, stick this in. Boom. And then you could have Soundwave, you know, pointing that way, saying, you know, laser beak attack or whatever. That's my best Soundwave impression. But yeah, there you go. That's awesome, right? Gives you some more options. And for some size comparisons, we have Soundwave alongside the Revoltech Optimus Prime and the Hasbro R.E.D. Optimus Prime. And it's kind of nice that Soundwave looks good next to the Revoltech Prime, because I don't know if Revoltech will give us any other characters aside from Optimus and Megatron. I would love if they gave us a Soundwave. That's probably the most wanted character that I'd like to see from Revoltech, but who knows if they'll get that far, you know. But it's nice that Hasbro has now given us an option for some figures to mix in with the Revoltech Optimus Prime. That's dope. And I think that Soundwave looks really good with the R.E.D. Optimus Prime as well. So these 3 look nice together. And then now here we have Soundwave alongside the Hasbro Earthrise Optimus Prime, and man, I really love that figure. That's probably my favorite Optimus Prime figure. I know there's probably better ones out there, but I don't own any of them, so that's my favorite that I own. I think that thing is awesome. One of these days, I'm gonna have to pick up a Masterpiece version. I'm sure, like, if I get the Masterpiece 44 or whatever, I'm sure I would like that the most. But as of right now, this thing right here is my Optimus Prime. I love it. And then on the opposite side, we have the IDW Optimus Prime from Flame Toys, and that thing is awesome too. I love the articulation on it. And then next up, we have Soundwave alongside the Siege Megatron and the Earthrise Starscream. And yeah, he's definitely too small to be hanging out with these guys, so I need to get the red Megatron. That figure looks really nice too, and it sounds like he actually has ab crunch, so that's interesting. And I would really like to see them do Starscream in the R.E.D. line. I think that'd be nice. And then now here we have Soundwave alongside the Siege Spinster and Siege Sideswipe. Next up, we have Soundwave alongside a couple of my favorite Transformers figures from Hasbro. On the left, we have the Siege Impactor, and on the right, we have the Earthrise Wheeljack. And of course, we have Soundwave alongside the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and Marvel Legends Bucky Cap. And finally, here we have the R.E.D. Soundwave alongside the Siege Soundwave and the Masterpiece Soundwave. And I love all 3 of these figures for different reasons. Each one of them serves a different purpose for me, but I love them all. And I just want to ask you guys, is there any other Soundwave figures that I should look into picking up? I feel like these 3 kind of cover most of the bases that I could think of, but I'm sure there's some other good ones. So let me know in the comments what other Soundwave figures I should look into, because I want to have as many Soundwaves as possible. I probably want to make like a full shelf of Soundwave figures. He's just one of those cool characters like that. So let me know what other figures I should look into, but I'm very happy to have these 3 as of right now. And now for the final size comparison, I wanted to show you how Soundwave looked alongside the Siege Ravage and Siege Laserbeak. So there's no real way to clip them onto the arm. You could just kind of balance them there. But he looks cool. I think size-wise, these guys could fit in with Soundwave. It would be cool for the red line to give us these characters to hang out with Soundwave. I think that'd be dope. Who knows how they would do it? Maybe they would just be like miniature pre-posed statues or something like that. I don't know. They could figure something out. But for right now, I think this kind of works. And Soundwave's articulation is really good. He has more going on than Optimus Prime, but just like Prime, he is missing one crucial thing, and that would be the ab crunch. I really wish he had that. If he did, the articulation on this figure would be pretty much perfect. But the fact that he's missing the ab crunch isn't really ruining the figure for me. I'm still able to play with it and have a lot of fun posing him around. So at first, I was a little disappointed, but at this point, I'm kind of over it. And hopefully in the future, if they decide to re-release Soundwave, they're able to work that in somehow. But as it is right now, to me, the lack of the ab crunch isn't really a huge deal. I'm still having a lot of fun playing with this figure. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and remove the shoulder cannon. So starting off at the head, it is able to move side to side. And he's got a double ball joint situation, so he gets a nice tilt. He's able to look up a really good amount. Check that out. And then he could look down to right there, which again, that is really good. And you are able to shift the head around as you need it. You could do whatever you have to do. But yeah, some good movement at the head. And as I mentioned, no ab crunch, but he does have a waist swivel. And then for the arms, he has a butterfly jointed shoulder, but it doesn't get all that much movement, but I still appreciate that it's there, and it gets more than you'd expect for this type of design because his shoulder is very blocky, his torso or his upper torso is very blocky, so you know, you're not going to get too much movement in here no matter what, but they were able to do a little bit with it, and I think it's pretty helpful. And then the arm does go all the way around. You could bring his arms out to the side to about right there. So that is pretty good. And then he does have upper bicep swivel. And unlike Optimus Prime, he's got double jointed elbows. Look at that. Bam. Bam. That is awesome. And then at the hands, we have a swivel and a hinge. And the way the hand plugs into the forearm, it's like a peg that clicks in twice. So if you bring it out like one click, you're able to get a little bit more movement out of the hand. So that can be helpful. And then for the legs, they are able to come out to the side to about right there. And with a lot of other Soundwave figures I've seen, the button plate kind of has a hinge on it. So when you bring the leg forward, it comes up and it doesn't get in the way. In this case, they didn't do that, but they left enough room here so that you could get his leg up a pretty good amount. And I don't think you'll be able to kick Optimus Prime in his mouth or anything like that doing this, but you can get him into some walking poses. And if you want to kick his leg higher, you could always lean the other leg back, and there you go. So, you know, that works. And then he does have upper thigh swivel. He's got double jointed knees, which get a pretty good bend considering his legs are so huge. But that works. And then at the foot, he's got a ball joint that actually comes out a little bit, and it allows his foot to move forward to about right there. You could bring it up to right there, and he does have rocking ankles, and when you bring that ball joint at the ankle out, you could get his, you know, you could get like a crazy rocking action out of the ankle itself. So that's awesome. Let's go ahead and see if we could get him flat down on the ground. Yeah, look at that. So that's good stuff right there. Yeah, the articulation on him is good. The only thing missing is the ab crunch, but it doesn't really bother me too much at this point. You're still able to get him into a lot of really cool poses and have a lot of fun messing around with him and just do a lot of good stuff. So I'm happy with the articulation on him. Alright, so even though this figure's not perfect, I still like it a lot and I'm having a bunch of fun with it. There are a couple of things they could have done to improve this figure. Obviously the ab crunch would have been nice, but I also wish that there was a little bit more depth to the face sculpt, or maybe some paint or something just to bring it out, because as it is right now, it looks a little plain. And I also wish that he came with a little bit more accessories. Some more hands would have been nice, but I really would have liked to have seen the animal versions of his tapes. I think that would have been dope. But aside from those three issues, I love this thing. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and just like Optimus Prime, that's the big draw here, the fun factor. I really like posing him around and messing with him, and he's just a lot of fun to handle, and that allows me to not really harp on the negatives, you know, because there's definitely some negatives with this figure. Nothing major, but just some things to point out, but you know, I'm able to overlook them because the overall fun factor's there, and I'm just enjoying the figure in general. So I think they did a good job with it, and out of him and Optimus Prime, I think this figure is by far better of the two, and I can't wait to get Megatron to see how he stacks up, but I don't think he's gonna top Soundwave, because Soundwave is my favorite Transformer and this is an awesome figure, so I'm happy to have it. But let me know in the comments what you think of this figure. Also, let me know what characters you'd like to see in this line. Like I always say when I'm talking about Transformers, I would love a non-transforming Springer figure. I think that would be dope, but I'd also really like a Starscream. I would like you know, Bumblebee, but I'm curious as to how Bumblebee would scale. Would they make him actual 6-inch, or would they scale him with these figures and make him like, you know, as big as Soundwave's leg or something? Personally, I would like to see him the size of Soundwave's leg and then throw in a bunch of accessories in there for him. I think that would be dope. But yeah, there's a bunch of characters they could do. They're obviously going outside of the G1 stuff because the next wave is going to have Prime RC and Cheetor from Beast Wars. So that's kind of cool that they're going all over the place with it. But hopefully they make their way back to G1 and give us some more G1 characters. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this line and I can't wait to get some more. And you know what? I think that's it. So thank you so much for watching. Oh, one more thing I want to mention about this line that I dislike is the fact that they're Walmart exclusive. Damn it, I hate that. That's the one big flaw with this line, is that they're cool and everything, but it's kind of a hassle to get them. So, you know, sometimes if you go through all this crazy bullshit to get a figure and then the figure is a bit underwhelming, it can be frustrating. So I really hope they move away from Walmart. But anyways, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time I go live. That's it. Thank you very much. Peace.